Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new Let's Play series in Hearts of Iron 4. Today we're going to be trying out the 1000-Year Reich mod. So this is a similar kind of premise to the New Order. Germany has won the Second World War. The Soviets in the East have been defeated. The Allies in the West have been defeated. I think the United Kingdom is still doing its own little thing. We're going to be getting some text here in a second. We'll be able to read that. But we are here as Germany. We've got all these guys as our vassal states. Italy is down here in the Mediterranean with their little vassal states as well. So, Swabian Knights. When Bismarck united the German peoples under one empire, most dreamt of a grand state that could surpass Napoleon. However, only one man dared to put his dream into action, the Führer. After a swift victory on the Western Front, all eyes turned to the Red Menace in the East, where Germany's fury fell upon the Bolsheviks in full force. Kiev, Minsk, Sevastopol crumbled under the German might. Meanwhile, the Soviets found themselves isolated, standing alone as the world turned their backs on them. Soon, Leningrad fell after a combined assault from the Luftwaffe, Kriegsmarine, and the Wehrmacht. As an all-out assault threatened Moscow, Stalin was forced to relocate his troops away from Stalingrad, opening a door for German insurrection into the Caucasus oil fields. Stalingrad too fell after encirclement bled the city dry, and finally, after millions of deaths on both sides, the German flag flew over the Red Square. However, this victory is never official, as the Reds have relocated to Perm, with Stalin going missing during the chaos of Moscow. Crisis of 48. After the animator operation in the East, Germany enjoyed a period of stability and economic boom. This period was jeopardized in 1948 when Adolf Hitler fell into a coma after suffering from a stroke. The prominent general Henning von Teskau used this opportunity to seize power, declaring that Adolf Hitler is dead. Von Teskau claimed himself Prime Minister of Germany and formed a new military cabinet. Loyalist Waffen-SS and military elements refused to recognize von Teskau's government. General Erich von Manstein formed a League of Neutral Regions and military formations, but included the Reichskommissariat. Just as all hell was about to break loose, the Führer recovered from his coma, losing all legitimacy. Henning von Teskau was arrested, then executed. While this crisis only lasted for a few hundred days, its impacts were severe, ending the German economic boom and pushing Germany into stagnation. Von Teskau should be remembered like the Jews and the Bolsheviks. So, here we are. We have Hitler in charge. He is pretty old. And I do know that there's a chance he does die, mostly because there's an event over here saying the unthinkable, and Hitler is dead. But worry about that in the future. Right now, we'll look at the status of the Reich. What technology do we want to get? Because it is 1952. Going for atomic research, I think this kind of makes sense. We don't have any nukes at the moment. What it actually allows us to do is just a research speed bonus. Do we actually generate nukes? We're not currently producing any nuclear weapons, so we might want to change that in the future. You guys have no effect. Actually, there's a research speed minus 2%. So I'm not too sure why I would want to research you. Probably some other stuff that should be in the mod that aren't quite there yet. So you've already researched you. Let's look at our industry tech. Because it's 1950. Let's go for research speed plus 3%. And then follow that up with production efficiency. Let's then go for free repair and construction speed. And get this all stuff going right now. We have a handful of factories we can use. And what do I want to do? We need a nuclear reactor. We actually can't research nukes yet. Research. Are you nuclear? You're atomic research. Where is nuclear reactor then? It's down here, actually. So it is a bit ahead of time for now. So we'll have to worry about that maybe a little bit in the future. For now, let's just go for some military factories around Berlin. That seems okay. We'll get our Army and Navy experience. Seems good. Hopefully that doesn't break the mod at all. And of course, how many troops do we actually have right now? We have 112 divisions, which I think seems like quite a bit. We'll select as many as we possibly can. 110. Where are the others? So we got one there and one down here. So fantastic. We'll split these into smaller armies. And there we go. So we got 5 of you. We'll throw you underneath one field marshal. Probably use a 6353. That's actually pretty good. You will be then a 4233. Are you in our faction? You're not, so we probably should put some troops on your border. I said we should put some troops on your border. We'll put you guys on the Italian border under another general. And let me just see who's actually in our faction. Hungary is not. Croatia is not. So they're people that we might feel a little bit threatened against. Let's put you on the Hungarian border. We'll put you guys on the Romanian border, because Romania is not aligned to us. And you guys, we will probably throw you on the Soviet border, because the Soviets are just hanging around over here, led right now by Beria. It's just great there. We'll also turn off state transfer tools, we don't need it on. Of course, we'll go up to speed 5 in a TWR tutorial. So there's UN mechanics, which doesn't matter so much to us because we're not in the UN. I think we can see the list here. So, of course, China, the British, the Americans, and the Canadians are the leaders in the United Nations. They're the permanent members. There's a handful of members here. If we look over here, China is led by Chiang Kai-shek. The Japanese are occupied by the Americans. So, basically, the United States, they won their war against Japan, but they lost the war against the Germans. So all of this is kind of within the American sphere. Mongolia is communist. You know, these guys are communist. I don't know who else around here is communist. You are as well. We'll just kind of figure things out kind of as we go on. We do need to start making probably like, you know, anti-tank rifles seem okay. Wartime rifles seem like a thing we want to get. Probably just a little bit of everything right now. And then we'll worry about it in the future. Mechanized equipment. Let's go with you. APCs seem okay. Artillery seem good. Towed artillery. Probably some anti-air as well. Then we'll follow that up by some light tanks. Some medium tanks. Probably some heavy tanks as well. And why not an IFV? And then some, let's put 4 into fighters, because fighters are pretty good. Close air support, let's put 3 onto you. Strategic bombers, let's go for 4. And aside from that, go for some interceptors as well. And then probably the rest we'll just throw into basic infantry equipment for right now. So, to me, that seems alright. I know we don't have a template for some of this stuff, but we'll keep training those guys anyway, because we'll probably have uses for them in the future. Of course, we'll want to trade with our subjects, just because that is by far the, There's nobody, none of our subjects have rubber? Fine, we'll trade with the British Malaysia. It's going to cost a little bit extra, but that's fine. We won't trade with the Swedish, though. There's no reason to do that. Status of the Reich. The greater future. The coup brought greater harm to the Reich than one might see on the surface. It cost the Reich much of the way of prestige and Germany's reputation on the market. Alongside its already existing economic issues, the coup offered the world an unsavory perspective onto the true nature of German politics. Even in 1952, there are no signs of recovery in Germany's near future. If no major action is taken, the Reich is doomed to fail. It appears that the powers of the world are keeping a close eye on us, waiting for us to tear us apart once a slight crack appears in our mighty nation. In a Polish terrorist attack. A group of unknown Polish terrorists have successfully damaged a military complex in the former eastern Polish territories of the German Reich. Under the cover of night, the terrorist scum used the bombs to accomplish a task with military-like precision. It's expected that the terrorist organizations known as the Home Army is behind this latest attack. So all we can do right now is look at our failing economy. And we do have our dockyards as well. We have 200 convoys, which really is not a ton. So we'll go with you, and then we'll just basically build a ton of submarines. And that seems pretty good for us, at least for right now. We don't have to worry about you. We got SS Panzer divisions. We'll just train up kind of a handful of just random groups for now. Because I'm not too sure how much war we'll actually be getting ourselves involved in. Also, you know, draw up some battle lines here. So try an invasion into Soviets. You guys are going to prepare for your invasion into France. I also want to turn off the fog of war. I don't know if we're ever going to go to war with France, but we'll get some invasion plans just going there. You guys prepare to invade Italy. Because, you know, you can't necessarily trust what the Italians are going to be doing. Same with, like, Ukraine or, not Ukraine, Romania here. But the Southern Poland Operation. Reserve Police Battalion 101 is organizing a massive operation to cleanse the still stubborn population of southern Poland. This is called Hunksies, to exterminate the remaining hidden Jews within the population, while identifying Jewish sympathizers in the region. The main goal remains to bring order and extermination to those who continue to defy the Reich. Get to working, 30 political power, I will take it. I know our army right now is not majorly strong. Because you guys right now, National Socialists, Fascists in the South. You guys are conservative. Finland and Sweden are kind of defying us. Of course, same with the British. They're just kind of being normal democracies, I guess. So Germany's economy. Germany's economy has suffered greatly recently. And then we have no choice but to pay close attention to the problems that begin to show necessary reforms. This will be a difficult task, but our leader will get us through it. Reform is the only answer that we can pull from Germany from the brink of total economic failure. After that, okay, see, we can then go for some internal politics. It's the only option we actually have in the list. We don't have any infantry equipment. We're actually missing a lot of stuff right now, so hopefully they can build these at a relatively decent pace. Third wave fake news. Weekly stability plus 1% for 50 days. Stability goes down for 15 days. This is for propaganda. Improve relations. Well, the third wave of fake news seems like a good choice for us to get some more stability. Fake media campaign. On the latest edition of Das Reich, entire article worth of content in a newspaper, it was given to a special piece. Written by an unknown author, a sizable article supported by pictures were published to the German public, in which the author showed the lives of deported undesirables in one of the Reich commissars. This article made sure to remind the readers of the deportees' inferiority, but also ensure that these people are living an adequate life under German custody. While most readers often skip these boring sections, a few that cared took this as a sign of relief, knowing that the German master race is doing their best to maintain purity in a humane way. But these pictures and names are a delusion crafted by Goebbels' men, which is the truth being a pile of ashes in the depths of a massive grave. A success as always. More prestige and stability. Thank you very much. Walter Funk resigns. It's a great last name. Suffering from illness and not being able to complete his role as economic minister, Funk has requested to retire from political affairs and live out the rest of his days in private. While the Führer expressed his disapproval of such action, he still accepted the request after considering Funk's service to the Reich. Franz Heiler has been made a new minister, replacing Walter Funk as the Minister of Economics. In the meantime, Funk has returned to his home in Dazcam to live out peacefully for the remainder of his life. Gone with an older generation. So, political power gain plus 25%. Resource gain is going down. Construction speed is going down. And production efficiency is also going down as well. Not great, I will admit. And politics of the German Reich. The political situation in the German Reich turns out to be much more volatile by the day. Death slowly creeping up towards the great leader and haunts him as a specter. Meanwhile, the factions formed within the NSDAP, rivalries between high-ranking officers threaten to boil over from the scheming into violence. Thankfully, with Hitler still alive, and the party remains unified on the surface, and still makes joint political decisions. There's so little one man can do alone, even the Führer himself feels lost at times. So can we do any of this stuff? We can also look at SS rivalries. Sure, political power plus 100, 21 days, not too bad. Do you want any of this stuff? Stability minus 5% for 15 days. Let's see overseas influences first. During Germany's conquest, many undesirables fled overseas, never hearing from the relatives living under the Germans again. However, since the fighting stopped between Germany and the Soviets, more and more refugees overseas starting receiving letters from Germany, all of which are signed by either a lost relative or a friend that lived under German rule after most fled. In these letters, they express that they are now living in a safe location somewhere within the Reich, and the generous Reich has allowed them the occasional letter sending to relatives overseas. These letters are often relieving to the receivers, but a majority of them believe that these letters are indeed forged. While the overseas undesirables cannot be sure about the authenticity of these letters, we know for a fact that our agents are experts in mimicking uncivilized writings. They would never suspect such a thing. So yes, we're just lying to a bunch of people, but that's okay. It looks like our troops here are doing okay. We cannot generate any war goals against the Soviets. And the Social Republic of Bengal and the Republic of India have signed a white peace. Yeah, because India's kind of in like a trillion tiny pieces. And Bengal is just kind of hanging out. So Speer's meeting. During a typical afternoon, Albert Speer paid a visit to Berghof for a private meeting with Adolf Hitler. Without the presence of Martin Bormann, while the chatter between Speer and Hitler in the garden mostly resolved around architecture, Albert Speer raised the concerns of the German economy and made an informal report of his post as Minister of Armament. Speer subconsciously commented that the German economy is a total wreck and seemingly didn't realize what he just said. So, 5% stability, Speer influences goes. We also get a new event, economic reform plans. I mean, the economy is not great. We have kind of already established that. The economic reform plans. The Führer has summoned all the inner circle of the party to come up with plans to reform the economy. Joseph Goebbels, Hermann Göring, and Albert Speer have suggested their respective plans for the economy. For Goebbels' people plan, Göring's new 4-year plan, and Speer's ideal plan, each proposal are detailed and unique in execution. Only one factor that matters is if any of these plans caught the Führer's interest. Get 50 political power. So at some point, we're going to kind of get one of these. So let's kind of see what's in here. Population, stability goes up, proficiency cap, construction speed, non-core manpower, 10% stability, more stability. So it looks like this is very stability heavy. But we do get a nuclear reactor and nuclear production plus 10% and 5 military factories. Actually is a ton. But you're 6 military factories. Well, you're 6 factories total, 3 and 3. You are also 3 and 3. So what are you? Your mass factories. Factory output is not bad. 2 options will happen. Consumer good factories. 2 more military factories. I mean, the 4-year plan's not looking so bad. Construction speed is kind of eh, to be honest. 30 tungsten. Research speed goes up by 8%. You just seem bad. Like, why just give us only a debuff? Resources to market. 2 more military factories. Some oil is not bad. I think we're probably going to go for the People's Plan. Just because getting the nuclear reactor early probably might mean something. I don't know. Successful Orpo operation. Reserve Police Battalion 101 has won a major victory in the regions of southern Poland. While they faced resistance, the Orpo was able to crush all unrest and successfully dealt with thousands of Jews and Polish resistance sympathizers. This operation marks yet another brutal yet impressive achievement for the Orpo. So 5,200 people have died. Sucks for them, but that's okay for us. And the Bengal Truce. The Bengal War, part of the wider Indian conflict that had been raging on for several years, seemed to be over. This morning, the Delhi government, led by Bose, and the provisional government in Bengal signed a truce, with India in effect recognizing the independence of Bengal as well as ending the war. Hailed by some as victorious for all sides and others a defeat for Bose's dreams of a greater united India, it is likely that the threat of the RSS nationalists in the south of the country was deemed more immediate threat by Delhi, and the truce was an effort to concentrate more resources on that front. This remains to be seen as if the new state will last in the unstable region. Well, the people who won the war are socialist, which as Germany we kind of are opposed to. At the moment. The death of Svein Borjan. At the age of 70, the president of Iceland, Svein Borjan, has died in Reykjavik due to poor health. An upcoming election is planned to replace the president, but the death of his national symbol has impacted the small nation's morale. Iceland has entered a period of mourning. Are you? You're just a bunch of liberals. Okay, so we don't care about you too much. If you were part of our kind of sphere of influence, we'd be much more interested. Also do the real infinite as well, just because we might as well collect all those options. Egyptian martial law. Chaos in Cairo, sparked by the conflict between the Egyptian police and the British garrisons, has resulted in severe damage, specifically targeting European-owned properties. In an attempt to control the tension in its order, the Egyptian government has declared martial law and ordered the military to restore order in Egypt's urban centers. So are you a British sphere? British influence, discontent population? This guy's got a very small face. A camp tour. Yesterday, a group of Red Cross inspectors, part of the now internationally controversial group, were invited to tour a prison camp. Demonstrated by the state-sanctioned camp guide, these guests visited the camp, met with prisoners, and took note on the camp's conditions. The camp was ordinary, with living quality being described as superb. Prisoners were tasked with minor workloads and giving humane treatment. The Red Cross team pleased, happy to report their sightings back to their headquarters, saying that the German system was working perfectly fine. As the guests left the site, all of them were satisfied, believing that no breach of human rights was being committed by the authorities. However, none of them turned back to look at the camp, and none noticed the exhausting chimneys. Fantastic. I mean, not for the people who were in the chimneys, but for our reputation with the Red Guard. Or Red Cross, I should say. Not the Red Guard. I feel like they'd be a much different organization. We do have promises of peace, but that's not really what I'm looking for. The 3 proposals made by the respective leaders are now being reviewed by the Führer himself, with the final decision being his. Speer's plan details a plan which various state projects and reforms will put Germany closer to the Aryan dream. Goering's plan aims to revamp the German economy in a more traditional military array. Lastly, Göring's new 4-year plan seeks to reform the entire system to bolster wealth and productivity. So I think what we want to do is we want to go for the People's Plan. Because it gives us a nuclear option. So we're going to go with the People's Plan, with the Goebbels. And also gives us way more military factories, which is nice. So let us go for military employment program. We cannot do this. Oh yeah, I'm doing the SS rivalries. Right, that makes perfect sense. And the Kingdom of the Netherlands and Indonesia have declared war on the Republic of Indonesia. So Indonesia is at war with you, who are also communist. Are you in, you're just kind of by yourself. Yeah, because you're kind of, I think, like the Dutch outcast. That's what we did take control of, the Netherlands proper. A French labor strike. Growing labor strike occurring in the Western territories have led for temporary industrial slowdown in our Western regions. While the local SS division were quick to put down these attempts at striking, this shows yet another stubborn inferior race refusing to accept Aryan rule. The goddamn Franks. But I think that at least for right now, this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you've enjoyed, my thumbs up. If not enjoyed, click thumbs down. If you want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.